So excited to be back with Astro Priestesses and our special guest, Tami Brunk. Tami and I have known each other for a long time. We've done a lot of astrological work together. We founded Venus Alchemy together back in 2014. We didn't even know that's what we were going to do. Thought we were doing something else, and then suddenly there was this other thing. And it went viral. It was just like so amazing, and people just loved it so much, and it's still going. Tami hasn't been a part of it now for a while, but and we miss you, of course.
And I miss you too.
Anyway, and Tami was also part of our summit that we had at the beginning of the year, 2025 and beyond. And she did a talk on dreaming and doing, and we will make sure that there is a link to that talk in the show notes. And if you want to go and listen, it was a brilliant conversation that she and I had. Um, and it still applies today. And because one of the things Tammy's been very into is the dreaming aspect. She studied with Robert Moss and is certified in dream technology. I don't know what you really call it, but anyway, that sort of thing. So she's definitely good at talking about that and inspires me. In fact, I woke up this morning from a very vivid dream and forgot to write it down right away. Started doing something else, and now I can't remember it. So you got to write it down right away. Anyway, it's a good reminder. So anyway, so happy to have you here, Tami. Um, so we are here for the Libra Solar Month, and we say this all the time now. It's like there is so much going on. Again, this month it is just like crazy, wild energies that we've been navigating all of 2025. And I'm going to start with prior to the exact equinox point when the sun enters zero Libra. We have Mercury entering zero Libra on the 18th of um, of September coming up. And so, and it's activating this grand trine, also a kite energy because it's going to be opposite. First opposition will be to Saturn, and then it'll be to Neptune, pretty precise. And then Neptune is sextile both Uranus and Pluto. So we have this trine with this the arrow coming out, and then the sex, and it makes it look like a kite. And that's an energy that's going to keep being reactivated throughout the month. And because then the sun's going to be in that point on September 22nd. And then Venus is going to be at that point on October 13th and 14th. I mean, coming into that alignment. But the activation of the grand trine and the kite energy will stay present for a while because the planets are moving into the exact alignment, then they're moving out of the exact alignment. So that energy is going to be pretty active for the entire month. Not to mention the fact that there is also a partial solar eclipse. It's actually 85% a partial solar eclipse, so it feels like it's more than partial, but I guess they don't have another word for that. They call it a partial. Anyway, the day before the exact equinox happens on September 21st, and then the equinox is on September 22nd at 29 degrees Libra. And so it's at that 29-degree mark. Second new moon in Libra. The first one was in August, and we talked about that at the for the August solar month, the Virgo solar month. And on that day, Mars is at 29 degrees Libra. And so then on the next day, the sun moves to zero Libra and Mars moves to zero Scorpio in a pretty exact square to Pluto. So the energies, and then we have this kite, we have this grand trine kite energy that's also being more precise on the 22nd, 23rd when the sun is in Libra. Grand Air Trine. And one of the things that I like to think about is somebody described it to me somewhat similarly to this. I think they said clothes in the closet. Like a Grand Trine is all these gifts or tools that we have. But if we don't have something that activates them, then we don't necessarily use them. If you could have a toolbox full of tools, and if you don't have a reason to use them, what's the point? So a kite energy gives us a reason to use these tools, and we're going to have this energy present for us. And if we think about the Libra energy, which is really about, we were talking about this before we started the video. The Libra energy is the round table. And here we are at the Astro Priestesses round table. So that we get everybody's insights, we get the bigger picture of everything, because we can only see so much ourselves, and we need each other to be able to see more. And it's also it's like the focal point, and it's the one that the planets are moving in and out of, and the other two are staying in that trine. Pluto and Uranus stay in this trine for a really long time, and then whatever's coming into Libra is activating the grand trine. So we could think about Libra energy being the diplomat, being the one who is the peacemaker, and the highest expression of Libra being the peacemaker. So we could focus our attention on this being a time when we find the peace within ourselves. Hopefully there's peace around us, and that we can become that peaceful energy in the world that gets spread into the greater collective reality. So that is, I guess I'll just leave this here. There's so many other things I could talk about, but I want to turn this over to Tami, and just so grateful that we're getting to do this roundtable at a time when we need peace in this world more than ever.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Yeah. So, yeah, I love everything you're bringing in here, and I'm so glad to be here with you in this Libra portal as well, because I agree with you so much. It feels like this is something that always comes alive with the peacemaker energies. And I know it's the case all across the globe right now. There's so much that's erupting, um, and so much that's shifting so quickly. And then there's the quieter currents of peace that we don't see in the news for sure. um, but I always think about the Haudenosaunee or the Iroquois Confederacy and their stories about the peacemaker when I think about Libra. And it strikes me like when they talk about how it took, they say, 25 years for in these stories of Hiawatha and the Peacemaker and Jigon Sasi, there's like a holy trinity of these female and two masculine energies that are bringing together these five warring tribes and creating a great law of peace. And I'm speaking to it just because, I'm in the US, and it's not just in the US that a lot of the need for that piece is erupting, but definitely here. And the Haudenosaunee or the Iroquois, they, in their original spiritual blueprint of the US and its founding, like one of the really beautiful potential roots is their culture and is their great law of peace. And so I always think, it took 25 years for these three to actually like go to all the people and go to all the different tribes and to cultivate a culture of peace. And that the final thing that they did was they actually approached this kind of sorcerer who was this very kind of scary kind of figure with like snakes in his hair. And, we love the snakes, right? So he was probably actually not like they talk about him, but that he was the last holdout really, and his people, because he had a really terrible things that had happened to him, and he had a reason to be against this unification. But anyway, at some point, they did bring about this great law of peace, and he became an important leader because they were able to listen to him and hear his stories, much like Ereshkigal and the Inanna stories. And I think it's Robin, Kimmerer, who wrote Braiding Sweetgrass, who wrote one version of the story where at the end, when they actually had brought him in, this individual that Jigon Sase, I think she actually braided. She was like braiding, like unbraiding his hair and like brushing out his hair with her hands and just bringing this whole, like just bring this piece. And there was and in any case, there's this whole healing of the masculine and feminine. There's a healing of these different entities that weren't getting along very well. Um, and I just think that it takes time. I think that's something for us to remember in this moment. It takes time, and it takes the deliberate, movement towards peace, and that the Libra mysteries invite that. And the one other thing I'll say about that as well is that I think it's interesting that Chiron and Eris are coming together for the second time during this Libra window, because it just feels so potent that these in Aries, right? So this goddess of discord, this warrior goddess who has felt exiled, that there's something that's healing for her. There's a healing that she's undergoing at the same time. And so, that's also kind of permeating the field right now as we speak. So there are these deeper healing currents that are just carrying us through this month that are so powerful that we have to really get still and listen and pay attention to where that's showing up, to not be distracted by all the noise that's rumbling around us.
Yes, and very connected to that piece of bringing the peacemakers. I feel that the balance is a very important aspect of Libra. And in some parts, it's like there are some exiled parts of the masculine and the feminine. And we were talking about that before recording. And that Mars entering Scorpio and squaring Pluto in Aquarius is really showing up where that masculine that it was wild and very connected with the inner and unconscious desires and really moving energies that are for the greater good, not manipulating power. Right? This is what we are seeing, right? And every time that Mars and Pluto are either opposing, squaring, conjunct, we see the shadows of the power dynamics in the world. And what is very important here, I feel, is to do that inner work of seeing where are we at war within ourselves, because that really helps to transmute energies from the inside out. So even if we feel we cannot do anything, this is what we do all the time. Like personally, with all the Aries, Libra that I have, this has been an inner war in my life. And always I receive the message that I need to make decisions from a space of inner peace. Like even if there is a conflict and creative tension, is always go back to your inner yin yang balance.
Mhm.
In order to go to that place, we do need to reclaim that masculine who has the power to take action and
Mm,
who really goes 100%, not I will just try to do this a little bit because Mars in Scorpio is a very strong force. Like it's really, it was the traditional ruler or rulership of Scorpio. And it makes sense in a way that Mars is like moving that subterranean waters of power. And but can we do it in with heart? Like can we do it with the power of the feminine as well? And that's something that I always teach in my classes and everything. It's like first is the feminine and listening and receiving. And we see it, for instance, in the lover's card, that the feminine is the one looking at the spirit and receiving the information. And then the masculine is listening to the feminine and taking action. And I feel that piece sometimes is missing in some parts, especially in spirituality. It's like we do need leaders with
mm,
a
mhm.
spiritual background. We need CEOs of companies who have a lot of power and use that power for good. So it's not so much about fighting the power, but about owning that and really using it for good. And I feel that we do have an opportunity in that sense. And with the grand trine in air, there is also an opportunity to rewrite our thinking about these dynamics, like really to rewrite those stories, to have new ideas, to uh, be very clear that the manifestation process is going to be very accelerated moving forward. And now we are just kind of like going back a little bit. The Saturn moving into Pisces, then it's like all the transpersonal planets are kind of like showing up a little bit of like we need to go backwards. But the moment that they go next year fully into the fire and air signs, the changes are going to be crazy. Like we haven't seen anything yet. And if we are scared of those changes, it's like the fear is being fed, and this is what the power dynamics who are using the, like, they want us to be afraid, because that is what is disempowering the collective. So the more that we are not really afraid to the changes, because I really feel they are unstoppable, and we just use the change for good, because we did need some changes. And this air is like, the more is going to be very clear that we can have an idea and make it happen, like in a faster way, as we haven't seen this process before. And I feel in the Libra season, what is very important is that we don't have to do it alone. Like, the power of people lies in community, in co-creations, and that's Pluto in Aquarius. It's like the humanity can change everything in a second. So it's like we do have the power to change the leaders that we have chosen. And it's not only in the States, like I'm in Spain, I lived in Thailand, it's all over the world. Everyone is always complaining about the leaders we have, but we are the ones choosing them, for good or for bad. Like, sometimes we don't even have choices. So it's like, how can we change the whole system? And I think this is the opportunity. We do have a very malleable energy that is the seeds that we plant now, and the seeds that we plant with this solar eclipse, they are going to really have a lot of future impact. So be very aware of that inner conflict inside, because the seeds are energetic. It's not so much only about what we are doing, but like, what is the energy behind of what we are doing? That is really what makes a difference. Like, I can do good things with bad intentions and the energy is corrupted, or I can be doing things that are really powerful, but the energy behind is pure love. So then it's like that pure love is going to be the impact. And the more, like, see, it's the more we do the inner, connect with that masculine force, and each person in their own way. Like, for some people, it's going to be more public. For some other people, it's just singing to the river. And that's your way to bring peace into anchoring that into the collective. So I feel during these first days, solar eclipse, Pluto squaring, and then with Aries, a Chiron meeting, is very important to be very aware of those parts within ourselves.
Mhm.
Wow, this is all so good. And Mar, just what you're really inspiring me to think of as you were sharing is it is the true pathway of the alchemist to be able to hold the tension of opposites within. So to be able to not get pulled too far into either end of polarity or division, and to be able to stand and hold space for both of them within. And it is that holding the tension of opposites within that is that alchemical catalyst for true transformation. And I've been contemplating on that lately. Well, we have so much intensity in our collective field, so much division, so much polarity, that how can I within hold space for all of what's happening and not get too pulled into either direction, and really have that be this alchemical cauldron for alchemy and change and transformation? Because I really do feel if we really want to see peace out in the world, we need to do the inner work within ourselves. And I really felt as Uranus went into Gemini, over the last month or so. Now Uranus is retrograde, and we have that Uranus trining Pluto also retrograde. They're just most of Libra season. They're both at 1 degrees of their signs, Uranus and Gemini, Pluto and Aquarius, and of course the Sun going into Libra seasons, activating that grand trine. But I really felt as Uranus went into Gemini that we were going to see even more instability and turbulence around information and information dissemination and how it's polarizing people. It's, like we see it everywhere, and it's so intense. And I'm not saying don't have our beliefs and our convictions. And I certainly we want to know our truth and what we believe in, and to speak truth and to take right action and aligned heart-centered action in the world for change, but to not get pulled into the there's so much hatred that and just really lower, and I don't want to say lower as bad, but there's a lot of hatred and a really intense energy that's polarizing people and making people, deceiving people from remembering their true nature of who they are and what we all came here to be and to do as humanity. And so as Uranus is retrograde, when planets go retrograde, we're also working with the polarity energy of the opposite sign, so Sagittarius. And we're just, we're living in a time where it's really heartbreaking to me that tragedy actually divides and separates and polarizes people more than being like a unifying fabric of us all coming together. And I feel like we can actually bring that back. How can we become more unified and coming back to our heart and coming together in humanity? Because if we all came together, like Mars said, I mean, the change can go like that. And Uranus going backwards from, which Uranus will not go into Taurus, retrograde back Libra season, but it will be here. And, this upcoming time will be going back into Taurus, we'll be going back to 27 Taurus. And to me, that is also that Uranus being connected to multidimensionality, the quantum timelines, and then Taurus being this very fixed sign. It's like that reminder that we can go into Gemini, the quantum potential, different timelines, and then Taurus, ground them very quickly. And I just think there's a reminder to really just tune into our own body wisdom. There's so much air energy that can get us caught up in the head, too mental, too heady. All of that's beautiful when it's connected to the body and the heart, but that reminder to come back into our body, listen to our body wisdom, that more information and always kind of being plugged in and feeding into the collective stream of information, what's going through technology and information and media, it's not always helpful for us. So it's like good to be aware. That's my perspective. I want to be aware, but if my nervous system starts getting really, really dysregulated, because I'm very energetically sensitive, I think most people here are very empathic, that it breaks my heart when there's so much tragedy happening in the world. And then when I'm just in a state of emotional and nervous system dysregulation, I'm not doing anything good for my own life. I'm responsible for being a single mother, providing a peaceful environment for my son here, and in the community in the world around me. I'm just not, it doesn't support my sacred dharma here of astrology when I'm in like nervous system dysregulation. So really tune in, and that it is okay to tend to yourself and to honor your own needs and your sacred body wisdom, that to give yourself that space from what's going on in the world. Because sometimes when we're very empathic, we can feel like there's so much suffering and like it's not fair if I'm tending to my own needs and nervous system, but we're not doing anything good for the world if we're just like in a state of dysregulation. So Venus is kind of holding it down, and the earth signs for us as we're going through the beginning part of Libra season. She's really, as far as like personal planets or main planetary energies, she's the only archetypal energy that's there in the earth signs. We have so much, fire and air and all this retrograde energy swirling. So I really feel Venus in Virgo is connecting us to our beautiful body wisdom, and to honor our body wisdom, connecting us also with the earth wisdom as well, and seeing all the sacred patterning of earth and sky and the sacred patterning that's all around us, that when we can really see it, we can create magic and alchemy. There is magic available to us all the time, and beauty. Like just look at the natural world. It speaks to us if we slow down and we open up to receive and listen.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Okay. I appreciate everything that's been said, the Peacemaker story. I'm so glad you went into that, Tami, and shared more of that story. I know we had shared a lot about that in past Venus alchemy classes, and just, but I feel like you added a few pieces there that I wasn't aware of. anyway, that and then there was something else. Maybe it'll come back to me. But here's the thing, another thing that's going on, and that is that Neptune is hanging out at the 0 degrees Aries point until October 22nd when it slips back into Pisces. So it is the opposition to Mercury when it goes into Libra, to the Sun when it goes into Libra, to Venus when she goes into Libra on October 14th. They're opposite Saturn, Neptune in at the 0 Aries point. And part of what we've talked about this year is how the 0 Aries point, that's the beginning point, that's the alpha point. The 29 Pisces point is the omega point, the end point. So we've had this endings and beginnings that have been going on all year and are going to continue on into next year when Saturn and Neptune come together at 0 Aries in February, I think February 20th of next year. So just that there's just so much activity or activation that's happening around that, and it's the activation point of the grand trine of the kite that is also being created. And so so just wanted to honor that piece. And also to just speak a little bit into, there's a full moon happening on October 6th. It's the first perigee full moon of the year, and perigee meaning closest to the earth. And also it's called super full moons because it's going to look bigger and be really active. And it's happening in Aries, but the full moon's in Aries, but the sun's in Libra, and so this Aries Libra activation just keeps going. And then Eris, the goddess of chaos and discord, and Chiron, the shamanic healer, meet exactly on October 8th. And at 25 degrees Aries in some minutes, I forget what the minutes are right now, but and this is their second meeting. They're going to have a third meeting in March of next year. And what's happening with this one that's pretty remarkable is Jupiter is in a pretty close square to them. And in Cancer, Jupiter and Cancer squaring this activation, so making it bigger. And so what are the opportunities to heal? And I love what you said about that, Mar, as well, about it's like the exiled parts of ourselves is really what Eris represents, and Chiron is about how do we heal that. And so those are the opportunities we have with that. And then on October 18th, the sun will be opposite Chiron and Eris. They're not exactly as closely conjunct, but they're within minutes still. They haven't moved a full degree away from each other yet. So that's a pretty powerful activation. And then Jupiter's even in a closer square to them at that time. So feels like big medicine. The possibility of what we can do in terms of, I like what you were saying, Jamie, about if we're feeling dysregulated, how do we get into a more regulated state? Practices, breathing practices, whatever it takes, meditations, whatever it takes to bring us back from that, because it's easy to get caught up in all the chaos that's happening in the world. So I think those are the main points that I just wanted to make sure got covered. And just that this idea that the peace, we need to find the peace within ourselves. I really love that. Find the peace within ourselves, and then we radiate that into the world. But with the power of love and the power of peace, we can change everything in the blink of an eye. So
Mm. Wow. I so appreciate everything everybody is saying. And Kaylin, I really, that kind of bringing it all together again, I think the theme that keeps coming through is, to me, that feels very alive with all of it is that peacemaking within. I so appreciated that reminder again. And that peace that we cultivate inside, and Jamie, you really spoke to that, is the tension, and really being in that tension, not trying to destroy one side or the other side. It feels like that's that very fertile territory we're in right now. And I was saying before the call that I have Chiron and Eris exactly conjunct within seconds, not too far from my ascendant. And so I feel like, in Mara, when you were speaking about, yeah, just that it starts on the inside, and really rooting that. Um, I do think that for many of us right now, that work of when we see the violence out there, really coming home and saying, okay, where does that live in my body? Like, where is that? And I think that the empathy does play a role as well, what you talked to, Jamie, about, because I've been seeing that and feeling that so much in myself. And I know so many people who do as well. As you said, we're all very sensitive beings. And I think becoming more and more sensitive, the more we wake up, the more sensitive and attuned we become. And it's kind of a strange thing that we're becoming more attuned and sensitive. And at the same time, we're being called to, it's just like we've been in training, and we're being called to maintain that frequency of wholeness, of coherence, of congruency within ourselves. I think it's so easy to not see how much we've each grown. We've all grown since 2017, 2020, all the massive acceleration since that time. And so it's like we've been building our musculature, we've been building our capacity to maintain ground. And of course, we're going to get off track and come back and get off track and come back. That's part of the dance. But I do also kind of feel that Eris and Chiron are holding ground for us in this window of time, that they're kind of the fulcrum in a sense, and helping us to have compassion even for the parts of ourselves that are in discord or separated. I was looking up earlier this year, I was doing a thing with my friend Lainey Love Dalby, and as we were talking about 2025 and giving an overview, it just popped in. It's like, what is the proper use of discord? What's the proper use of discord? And that's something I've been kind of meditating on all year. Like, is there a proper use of discord? And when I looked up the word discord, and I was kind of breaking it down, because again, that word is often used to describe Eris fairly or unfairly. It has to do with the places where the heart is separated. So it's discordant. It's where our hearts are separated from ourselves or each other or something happening in life. And so what I've been kind of trying to come into alchemy with internally is to even love the part of myself that is in discord, the part of myself that wants to separate out from other people or from situations. Like, how can I honor her at the same time that my larger self is, really being the parent in that situation, not letting her be in charge. But so it feels like, again, coming back to this isn't some simplistic process. What we're coming into is mastery. So it's messy and it's nuanced and there's many layers, and we're not going to just be in one solid state and just stay there, this fixed state of perfection and harmony. Probably we're going to be coming in and out. But I think I also resonated so much Mars when you're talking about that Mars and Scorpio and square Pluto, and needing to honor the masculine inside of us that is decisive, that can take action, that can be very very potent and powerful in the world as a force of love, and having that connection to wildness. And I think that in a way, that energy is very aligned with the healthy Eris energy as well. And we just simply can't, as spiritual people, we can't just throw away and diminish our agency, and be aware of where the more light oriented part of ourselves might really have a lot of judgment around the part that just is more fiery and direct. I just think it's the same theme as Venus, Aries, Pisces that we've been working with, and all these activations of the 29 Pisces, 0 Aries. It's, we're seeing it play out with that, and Chiron and Eris. It's like, how do we simultaneously be all of who we are, which is what the world wants, be that Aries self, emergent, creative, changing, and then also co-create. And it's a bit of a riddle and a paradox. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I was feeling a lot also into the sense of belonging with that squaring Jupiter in Cancer, because sometimes Aries is about I am who I am. I have the right to exist, to feel what I feel, this life force energy within me is penetrating life and I just want to go for it. And squaring Cancer is like, yes, but the tribe, how can you be that and belong to the tribe? And the culture that we have built, and this is beyond countries, is the global humanity, doesn't allow individuality to truly thrive and shine. So then, most of us, we severed parts of us to just fit in order to be part of a box. Like we were conditioned in school to be in a square, and there is only one right answer to the test. And this is really engraved in, like, we were domesticated to be part of a machine in a society in a very not organic way. It's not about bringing forward our full potential. The whole society is built to just do your part and be okay with that. Be satisfied with doing that. And that is not working anymore. So we feel lost, but at the same time, there is this great opportunity of creating new communities. That sense of belonging in Cancer is being something that is being very alive for me. It's like most of my relationships are gone. It's like, and that's the part of growing that is not told so much. Like if you truly do a lot of growing in many ways, you outgrown your friends from the past. And it's not that you don't love them, it's just that they don't inspire you. And that's very Aries thing. It's like I want to keep moving. I want to, and we have that Neptune in the 0 degrees. So it's very important now that we hang out with people who are inspiring, who are really allowing us to, or we are allowing ourselves to be brave, to take a leap of faith to a new reality. And nobody knows where that reality is leading us because that 0 point of Aries doesn't have a clue. It's an input. It's just follow your life force, follow a sign and go there. And but you won't have the whole map. Like if we want that because of a sense of safety, that's also very Cancer, kind of like emotional security, is that how can you find that security within yourself so then you trust yourself, you trust nature and the body, as Jamie was saying, like your system is regulated, and then you feel the life force, and then you just know, I need to go to that event tonight. Why? I don't know. But I will meet someone, and that someone is going to open something. Because that kite in air is about social community. Like all the air signs are very social. Like Gemini wants to really communicate with everyone. Libra wants to co-create. Aquarius is the community, and we have that activated. But maybe it's not the community that you have been going and hanging out lately. Maybe it's a new one because they are all opening new pathways. So it's like experiment. I feel this from now to February next year. And this I keep saying in everything. It's like this is a test drive. It's like we are trying, and then like, no, this wasn't it. Okay, that's fine. So you try new things, and no, this wasn't it either. So it's releasing as well, and that's the magic of Uranus in Gemini, right? Like releasing that you have to get it right the first time. Try it out, experiment. The Aries is the same. If a person has a lot of Aries, Gemini, they just start things and they give it to another. They are not meant to keep going. They are just meant to start and energize the community and then sell the business or sell the idea and start a new thing. It's like we are not all meant to do the same. So I feel with these new energies, it's just your greatest job is to just be you. It's like to fully be you in your greatest potential. And this is why I feel all of us are in love with astrology, because it just shows you are different and that's okay. And the first one that we need to start loving ourselves is you, right? Like it's you love you. And you love, as Tami was saying, also the exiled parts, the parts of us that they get angry and frustrated, and the one that makes mistakes. It's like not trying to, the day I heal, I will, no, is life is now, is not the day I heal. It's like we are already healed today. Like there is no really a wound. This is something, it's like, it's much more a mental thing of telling ourselves that we are wounded, that truly being wounded is. So the moment we just love every single part of us, also the difficult ones, that moment the wound disappeared. And we just realize that we are divine beings in a body. And that is kind of like, whoa. And that's the possibility, like that's the zero Aries, that's the seed. It's like, can you fall in love with yourself? Because the more you fall in love with yourself, the more that you're going to be a loving, anchoring energy for everything else. Because if you get rejected, you will be okay, but I love myself and that's fine. It's like that's truly I feel the mastery is always that. It's like the moment we don't really care if we are accepted by others or not. We just love everything that we are, and from there we create community, relationships, and everything. So I'm super excited about this month after all of
I love that. And I really feel that is, Mar, what you're speaking about is to me, that's the Chiron healing journey is often there's a similar journey with those of us that really resonate with the Chiron healing journey of, oh, we feel like we have something fundamentally wrong with us, either something innate about us or something that has happened to us that we incorporate into our identity and we feel, oh, if I just didn't have this part of myself or this aspect of my life, then I would really belong, or I'd truly be lovable, or I'd truly be worthy, or whatever it is. So we go on the Chiron journey of healing and we're trying to heal that thing that we think is wrong with ourselves. And then we learn all of these amazing healing skills and tools and modalities along the way. And we often do have maybe aspects of healing, but I've experienced it within myself and so many people I work with that like we're really resonating with the Chiron story is that it's like, wow, I did all this healing work and I've done all of these classes and courses or seen these healers or whatever it's been. And I still have that thing about myself that's like still there that I wish would just go away. And it's like once the true Chiron healing is when we realize, wait, there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make me fundamentally wrong, this thing about myself or that's happened within my life. And when we embrace it and integrate it into our wholeness, it's like, wow, I was whole and complete all along.
Mm.
And I just feel like that's been such a big theme that's come up is really that connection to our wholeness. And Chiron and Eris both have these big themes of their stories, of their mythologies of not belonging and exile and abandonment. And Chiron is really it's like that breaking of our heart wide open to really embrace our humanity and our vulnerability and our humanness. And so there's just something so beautiful with that this season. Just to kind of bring it back to I want to bring the reminder that, we have that Virgo solar eclipse opposite Saturn that's so strong that happens right before we move into Libra season. But this Libra season, especially really all of Libra season until that Libra new moon, it's still eclipse season because that Virgo new moon solar eclipse that happens right before going into Libra season, this whole next lunation has been seeded and eclipse energy. So there really is probably still lots of that eclipse kind of Uranian change and acceleration and things not going according to plan or not going quite how we expect. Lots of integration as well. And just to me, I'm just feeling the more we can be open to the possibility that we can get out of the way of ourselves of thinking this is how things are supposed to go within my life or the world. And just to see the possibility that's present here, there's so much cosmic Virgo, right? Cosmic re Virgo solar eclipse that's starting this Libra season, cosmic reorganization within our lives and course correction that the more we can open to the possibility, see what's available and present to us, and to ground it into our bodies. I'm just feeling like there's so much potential for really getting out of the way of our own minds. And I just want to, really speak to this Libra season. It is the equinox as we're going into Libra season, as the sun comes to 0 degrees of Libra, as the sun comes to 0 degrees of all the cardinal signs throughout the year. Those are the initiations of our seasons, the equinoxes and the solstices. And they are these really powerful solar portals that we can work with. So to bring our ceremony or prayer or whatever it is so there are these magical portals that really, if we bring our intention and attention to them, we really can ripple magic and beauty into our lives and into the world around us. So maybe just check in whatever way feels authentic to you, whether you want to do something ceremonial. I just love, to me, it is so ceremonial, just the practice of, especially around equinoxes, going out, witnessing the sunrise, the sunsets, your feet on the earth. The sun is rising at equinox due east and setting due west, and then it will start making its rising and setting a little more south of east, a little more south of west as we go towards that Capricorn solstice. So even it's the same for whatever hemisphere you're on, even though our seasons are opposite. And so it's really powerful to see. I mean, I'm in Oregon right now. We don't get much sunlight. You really don't see many sunrises and sunsets right now, but I still like to go out, and even the sunlight coming through the clouds is still, I feel like I'm getting those light codes, even though it's rare to see the sun at this time of year. But it's really powerful, and to find those spots on your local horizon line, especially if you're somewhere that's more like stationary where you live, to know on your horizon line, like where are the solstice points of the sunrise and sunsets, and then the equinox point in the middle. It's just like you become this magical bridge between the above and below when you connect with that way. So I just want to bring that energy to the equinox, here in the northern hemisphere. We're moving into fall season. This is really like, celebration of the harvest of all the beautiful, the bounties of everything that's grown throughout this year, and to come together with people and gratitude. Where I live, uh, I believe it's right around the equinox, right? We have like our community harvest where everybody can bring things from their gardens and celebrate, and community. Just coming back, I feel like with Venus starting in Virgo here, being the guardian of the Libra mysteries, that the coming back to basics and simplicity throughout this Libra season just feels like such an important message. Ground to your body, find your routines and rituals and health practices that really just support your physical and your mental and your spiritual, all of it, health and well-being. And Venus, going out and seeing her as the morning star too, it's just such an amazing embodied, grounded, but yet really mystical practice. I mean, she's getting lower in the morning sky. We're going into this season with, I think, believe her sacral chakra gate. And so then there's the root chakra gate, and then that eighth gate of the Earth Star gate. I'm probably saying it wrong because I have like Saturn on my Mercury right now, so my mind like details but it really, like, Venus getting lower. I mean, she's activating our lower and lower grounded, earthy, like embodied chakras that really bring us into our bodies, bring us into the connection with the earth. And yeah, I'm just feeling that really getting embodied and grounded feels really important.
Oh, yay, this is so good. Okay, so Tami, is there anything that you're up to now that you want to share about before we wrap this up?
There's nothing that's coming very quickly, but I do have an in bulk right at in bulk. I'm going to be initiating what I'm calling Astronosis Academy. And it's basically really deepening the practice I've done for a long time of creating those dreaming circles where we're dreaming into the mysteries, and also having an aspect of that that is really rooting in this, as we as community cultivate dreaming incubation practices with the planets, with the stars, to really ask the question, how does the seasonal sign and how does the constellation and stars beneath it, in a very fresh way, how do we dream into that combining or marriage of energies? So there's going to be a kind of, like, for example, that the whole time that the sun's in Libra, it's held within the body of the Virgin, right? So this is something that's so key in all the learning of shamanic astrology and alchemical astrology, everything you do, Kaylin, everything I think all of us do. But my intent is to play with that territory, not with nakshatras necessarily, but with literally the constellations, the Western constellations and the seasonal signs, and to go deeper into that territory as kind of a frame.
Oh, that sounds so good. Okay, so do you have a link to that yet, or should we
I
just
don't yet, but just stay tuned.
so you can go to Tami's website, tamibrunk.com, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you can go to the website and sign up for our newsletter, and then
Mhm.
you'll get to find out when this is going to happen. This
Yes. Yes.
Okay, this has been so good. And I also just want to come back to the Iroquois story because I think that because you started out saying they were warring tribes and how they came to peace. And so what I feel like that story gives us is hope. It looks like we're warring tribes across the planet. And they were able to do that. I mean, they had people that helped guide that and lead that, but the people were also willing. So I feel like this is something that we want to hold in our hearts and in our awareness, is that if we can have that hope and also that peace within ourselves, then we can create that across the planet. So I'm just so grateful for all that's been shared here today. And I don't know if anybody has anything else burning they want to say. Go, Mar.
I would like to celebrate that is our 3rd-year anniversary doing this. So there is this celebration moment, like this commitment of 3 years every month meeting and nourishing each other in this, and then now inviting more faces and then creating this community. So it's just that celebration of
I
this.
love it. Oh my gosh, because it's all about community, right? And how we do this together and how we are visioning together and co-creating together. And that's so Libra anyway. Good. All right. So thank you, everyone. I hope this has been helpful, inspiring, and informative. And we'll catch you for the Scorpio solar month. Bye.